If you're looking to improve your forehands, you've come to the right place. It was only 3 years ago that I picked up the forehand, and it quickly surpassed the accuracy and distance of my backhand, so much so that I've now become a more forehand dominant player in such a short time. It's pretty crazy. So after lots of practice, countless forehand tutorials, and helping others along the way, we're finally ready to release the biggest forehand mistakes disc golfers make. Starting off with the first forehand mistake disc golfers make, not using a grip that works for you. It's important to experiment with the various forehand grips that are out there to find one that feels the most comfortable and allows you to generate the most power and snap. We actually just did a video on all the forehand grips, so make sure you check that video out before proceeding. Now for the second forehand mistake disc golfers make, having the disc improperly positioned in your hand. We often see players gripping their forehands incorrectly by having a gap between the disc and their hand. And we're more specifically talking about between the thumb and index finger. It should be fitting in there nice and snug. If there is any kind of gap, you're losing all power and accuracy, and it's really not allowing you to improve your forehands. Additionally, you want to push the disc back so that you're leading with your wrist, because this puts you in the correct position to do a proper forehand. This not only allows for a more effective grip, but also allows you to put more spin on the disc. Now you'll notice that many professionals adopt this technique during the run-up of their forehand. Their offhand not only maintains the disc in the correct position, but also aids in aligning your shoulders and core for a more powerful forehand throw. Now in part 2 of this forehand series, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that opposing arm and its significant impact on your forehand performance, so be sure to check that. Moving on to the third forehand mistake disc golfers make, forcing the disc over. With newer players learning to forehand, we often see them trying to force the disc over on an anhyzer during their follow-through. They believe this technique, known as a flex shot, will grant them extra distance. While it does grant extra distance initially, it forms a detrimental habit that can be difficult to break later on when attempting to throw different lines. When first learning to forehand, you want to start by learning to get the disc to do its natural flight, which means releasing the disc on a slight hyzer to then get it to flip up, fly straight, and finish subtly to the left or right. This is the most typically used shot for forehands and backhands, so it's a good one to know first, and it's the most natural to perform. So with all of your forehand shots, you really want to avoid manipulating your wrist in different directions. This means keeping a straight line between your wrist and forearm, and you'll notice that the proper angle still has a slight bend in the wrist, so it's never truly perfectly straight. You should instead use your forearm, hips, and upper torso as the primary levers, not the small lever of your wrist. How much angle for each major lever really depends on practice, personal preference, and comfort. So now let's move on to the fourth forehand mistake disc golfers make, using high-speed overstable discs. While a lot of players online recommend using overstable discs for forehands because of the snap, it's often not the best starting point. Instead, begin with a neutral flight disc, one that naturally flies straight out of the box with minimal fade or turn. It's a good idea to opt for mid-ranges to start, as they allow you to focus on developing proper form without the need for excessive speed. Once you've mastered releasing mid-ranges with a slight hyzer angle, seeing them flip up, fly straight, and finish either right or left, you can gradually progress to higher speed discs. Now, if you're unsure about what disc to choose to try to learn the forehand, don't worry, we'll be sure to put some recommendations in the video description. Now for the fifth and final forehand mistake disc golfers make, not using your wrist properly to snap the disc. In a video called Stop Serving the Pizza by the professional Scott Stokely, he clarifies the correct wrist plane for forehand throws, as many disc golfers misunderstand the proper wrist movement. Attempting to forehand with a serve the pizza motion with your wrists, meaning the palm of your hand faces the sky, will result in a lack of snap in your throws, because this method severely restricts wrist motion. Instead, your wrist plane should resemble that of throwing a baseball, because it offers a lot more available motion in your wrist. Now to achieve this, imagine yourself trying to throw a baseball, but with your body slightly tilted towards your throwing side. This position aligns your arm parallel to the ground, enabling the proper wrist motion. But now that you understand the correct wrist motion, let's talk about snap, the final action before the disc leaves your hand. And if you didn't know, snap provides the necessary spin to keep your disc aloft. As your arm reaches the forward extension, flick your wrist at the last moment to add spin to the disc. Remember that the release point should be out in front of your body, and you really should be aiming kind of towards the ground, about 20 feet out or so, kind of like you're skipping a stone across water, which we're going to talk about more in part 2. Alright, so far we've covered 5 of the 10 biggest mistakes disc golfers make when trying to throw forehands. Part 2 will delve into more advanced topics, including how to utilize your lower body, the role of your opposing arm, and much more. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want more valuable insights, you know exactly what to do. As always, we greatly appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt.